for my Module 2 video on integers under subtraction. So I realized once again in doing the readings and watching the lecture that once again I really do want to make it a goal for myself, especially with these topics in particular, to really help my students conceptualize how this integer subtraction is actually working, rather than just giving them tricks and rules, mathematical tricks to try to get them to remember how to do it. I definitely do have some good tricks, that help them remember, but it doesn't mean that they necessarily fully understand what's going on. So I really enjoyed looking at the different manipulatives. So basically, I want to start out with this number line here, which is just the most simple manipulative. So in this case, really, it's these are some problems from the textbook reading. So I have the positive 5 and the negative 7. So you start at the positive 5, and then you're going to go back 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You'll end up on negative 2. So that's one of the most basic ways to portray subtraction on the number line. So we notice that it is going to be a negative number since the 7 does pass before it beyond the 0 into the negative side. We're adding 2 negatives. Start at negative 3, go down 4 more. But now we look at the subtraction. So there's the adding the negative, and then there's the subtraction. So while they will end up adding, 5 minus 7 would be the same as 5 plus negative 7, as we discussed in the lecture. You can't use the same properties for adding and subtracting. So that's when it becomes really important that you look at what the operation is and the sign. So I'm going to look at this positive 6 and negative 2. So this is a pretty basic one. I have my 6 and go back 2, right? To 4. All right. But now when it comes to 6 minus negative 2, one of the things that we have to remember is that the negative means you're switching, or the minus means you're switching directions. So I'd have 6 minus 2, but really it's a negative, so we're flipping the other way. 6. So while I do have a little trick to remember, subtracting a negative equals adding, conceptually speaking, that may not necessarily help students understand what's going on there. So I looked at a couple of different manipulatives. This one here has the hot air balloon with the gas and the sand. So what they're saying is that the gas has the same lifting power as the sand does weighing down power. So if I add 7 bags of gas, so I want to find the inverse here. This is almost like a negative number here. So the positive, the 7, it's inverse the negative 7 because the sand weighs it down. It's going to be on 0. But if I want to add 2 more bags of gas, it'll go to make it 9 bags of gas. The difference here is going to be 2. Now let's say I add 13 bags of sand. Now, hypothetically, it would go below our 0 line, our origin. But this is really showing us how they basically weigh to one side or the other or equal out. The other one I have here is a number line again. So it's gonna kind of show it slide based on how much I'm the negative and the positive, the positive number, and then our negative number that we're subtracting. Or this could be a negative number we're starting at. So starting at negative 9 here, and then subtracting 7 more. Now we would be going back 7, except that it's minusing it or subtracting a negative. So we're actually coming up because it means reverse direction. So I wasn't able to get on some of the manipulatives because of the software on my computer. However, I really did enjoy and really kind of had an aha moment when in the lecture with the counters, the chips, with that concept. So having the inverses is a really big thing that I think could help students conceptualize. So the one thing that really did it for me, I think, was we had basically it was the positive chips and the negative chips. So here I would have had 6 positives, but then I need to take away 2 negatives. So I'd have to have basically add the zeros with the inverses, the positive chips, the negative chips that basically evened out to make 0. And then I was able to take away the negatives. So it ended up looking like 6 plus 2. And unfortunately, I don't really have the manipulative tool accessible to me right now to show that, but I did find that extremely interesting in the lecture, and is definitely something I'd like to share with my students.